Hey guys, and welcome to this special episode of Behind the Closed Doors. Now, I just picked up the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro from our friends at Camera Nu. Now, why the Mobile Studio Pro? Very simple. I think Apple really left the professionals in the cold. The new MacBook Pro is really awesome. It's smaller, it's lighter, but in essence it's actually heavier because you have to carry a hub, you have to carry dongles, and I just don't get it. And also with the view on the new on the new Mac Pro, I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe they're gonna release a new one, maybe not. And when you read the interviews, it's very certain Apple will not be doing touch. As a photographer, as a workshop teacher, as an educator, I just love to be able to have one device. And I hope the iPad Pro would have been it, but the iPad Pro is awesome, don't get me wrong. It's awesome for drawing, it's great for media consumption, it has great battery life, but shooting tethered and retouching on it just doesn't work. And Wacom just released their Mobile Studio Pro. So, this is behind the closed doors, and we're gonna take a behind the closed doors view at it. That means filming it with one camera and not professional audio. We're also going to do another video that's a little bit more professional and that will go a little bit more in depth, but I didn't want to keep you guys waiting. So let's look at the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. Okay guys, I absolutely hate unboxing videos, so we're going to do this fast. This is the box. And this is what's inside the box. And below the Mobile Studio Pro you see the carrying case for the pen, the power supply and the pen itself. Okay, the Mobile Studio Pro charges via USB-C, which is actually awesome because now we can actually also charge probably with our HyperJuice, which is great for in the field. This is one of the things that I didn't like about the Surface Pro from Microsoft. They had a proprietary connector, meaning that you couldn't use the HyperJuice. And the cable is pretty long, as you can see here. It's really nice. It's connected to the power block, but that's not a real problem because with USB-C you can just use another charging cable. I guess we're still going to test that. And then we have the connector, of course, to the power outlet. So let's connect this and let's see what's the screen like. Now, getting a 16-inch tablet is pretty big, but how big is big? And at first I was a little bit afraid, and you know, I just thought about it. How often am I in a coffee shop using my laptop? And that's actually 0 times. How often do I use a laptop when I don't have enough room? That's actually 0 times. So I always have room. So I immediately ordered the 16-inch because if it's too small, that's very frustrating because then you have your menus on one side, you have this little tiny bit of workspace. I didn't like it at all. Now I have on the table, I have my MacBook Pro 15, and in the past I actually used a 17-inch, but that's many years ago. So I have my MacBook 15-inch and the Wacom, and to be totally honest, the size, I expected it to be bigger, so that's the first plus I'm going to show you. Now, knowing that the MacBooks are always pretty small in form factor, I have them now next to each other. Let me close it up. You can see it is bigger, but it's not as big as I thought. And even when I put it on top of the MacBook, it's not a lot bigger than my MacBook 15-inch, so this is a really big plus. One of the things I do advise you is get a sleeve for it. So in this case we bought the Case Logic sleeve. And we use a 17 to 17.3 inch laptop sleeve, and that fits very, very nicely. Connection wise, you have 3 USB-C ports, of course a card reader. Thank you so very much Wacom for thinking about this very, very important piece. And you have of course your on and off switch. And this is also something that I absolutely love to see back, and I really don't get it why Apple took this away from their Pro laptops, a Kensington lock option. Now, for people working at home, a Kensington lock option doesn't seem like a big deal. For professionals in the educational business, or if you're shooting on a location, a Kensington lock is incredibly important because, well, imagine doing a trade show, having your Wacom tablet there or your laptop, and somebody passes and there you go, gone is your laptop. And with a Kensington lock, you can securely fasten it to a table or whatever you want. So Kensington lock, awesome that it's now back for me on my Wacom, because I really missed that on the MacBook Pro. Okay, so this is the back of the Mobile Studio Pro, and this is actually the i7 version with 3D scanner, sorry. And this is something where I do see a little bit of a problem. I would love to be able to mount the Mobile Studio Pro on a stand when working in the field. And as you can see, the back is totally flat, there's no face or mount option. So we have to figure something out for this. Okay, key-wise, the 16-inch has 4 keys on the top, 4 keys on the bottom, and of course the ring. And this combination is awesome. This is something that I miss on a lot of other laptops. Because in all honesty, when you retouch, you need certain keys, like your command key, your shift key, and you need a lot of those. So if you have a pen with 2 buttons, what do you want to program under those 2 buttons? You can only program, well, maybe command and shift, but you still miss all the other options. And this is one of the things I also run into problems when testing other devices that had touch and digitizers on board. I absolutely love the form factor, I absolutely love the way they worked, but I miss those hard keys. Now in Windows there's software that will actually emulate those hard keys, but that takes away from your real estate. And your real estate of course means screen size. And this screen size, oh my, it's 4K in a 15.6 inch. That's absolutely breathtaking. I'm going to show you that now, but I'm already telling you on video, you won't even see half of it. Did I say half? You don't even see, you know what, it doesn't even do it justice, but I'm still going to show you. Now maybe you already knew it, but the middle part of the rocker ring is actually also a fingerprint sensor. So you can use it to store passwords or maybe do payments with it. I'm still not 100% familiar, of course, with the Windows ecosystem, but it's a touch sensor. Okay, now because it's a 4K display, it's wise to select your size of letters, and you can do that pretty easily, as you can see here. And I like them a little bit smaller because I'm used to a Retina on maximum size. In other words, getting a lot of space. So I like it like this. But it's cool that you can set it in very small increments. And again, we're going to do another video where we show this much more in depth. But I did want to get this video out as soon as possible. That's why we're filming it in behind the closed door style. So just with one camera and a lot of glare on the screen, as you can see here. But don't worry, we're going to do this more professionally very soon. Okay, again, you can't see this very well on video, but the screen is absolutely gorgeous. I'm used to Retina screens, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate this screen. You can sit with your nose to the screen and you don't see any pixels. It's like it's literally one flat surface without any pixels. Absolutely stunning. Wow. Now, I didn't install any software yet, but I couldn't wait, so I started up this Note app, and watch this, the parallax. There is no parallax anymore. Now, what is parallax? It actually means that normally on, for example, an iPad Pro or even a Cintiq, you have the idea that you're writing on glass because the cursor is actually underneath, as you can see here. But with this, there is no parallax. So this is really cool. And it's really fast. And I'm filming this live, so I didn't test this before. I'm testing it just as I show you guys. This is really nice. Okay. Now one of the things that's the worst thing you can do on a tablet is try to write your name or give a signature. Because it's something you're used to do on paper. And this works absolutely awesome. Okay, so let's install Photoshop and Premiere. Oh, there we go. And then see how video editing works. Now, you know when you're in tablet mode that you need a keyboard, right? You can use a Bluetooth keyboard or you can use the keyboard that pops up. But there's also something else, and this actually surprised me how well it worked. So I want to download Creative Cloud. So I opened up Edge, that's the new Internet Explorer, and just watch this. Okay, so I want to look for Creative Cloud. So you can of course pull up the keyboard, but you can also do this. Now watch this. It literally recognized my scribbling. Really nice. Okay, I do want to show you this. Now, my previous experience with Windows and gestures weren't that positive, but in total honesty, it's been a year or so, and I don't know if it's changed a lot or it's the Wacom, but this is incredibly smooth. And this is totally different than my previous experience, which was actually a lot worse than the iPad. And this is actually on par with the iPad, so really nice. And again, I don't know if it's the Wacom or if this is normal behavior for you Windows users, but I'm primarily a Mac user, and this is really nice and smooth. Now, one of the things that I will miss a lot probably is the magnetic timeline from Final Cut Pro. Now, in the past I edited a lot of stuff on Final Cut, and then when it changed to Pro, which was in the beginning actually iMovie on steroids, I lost interest and I switched to Adobe Premiere, which I absolutely loved. But of course later Final Cut Pro X improved a lot and I changed back to Final Cut Pro, and I actually love the magnetic timeline. And yesterday I did a test video, actually behind the closed doors from yesterday was edited on Premiere Pro, and if you hold the command key you can actually snap. And today I'm gonna edit the first video from behind the closed doors on the Wacom. So it's very curious for me to see how that turns out. So that's next on the list. It's now installing all the software, and actually on the MacBook I'm now editing some photos from today, which you saw in the other video from behind the closed door. So today we actually have two videos, and I'm very curious to see how it turns out. I know rendering on my older MacBook Pro, I have a 15-inch, it's about a year and a half old, is okay, and I think the Wacom should actually obliterate that one. I hope that's the right correct pronunciation of that word, but I mean it should actually kill the MacBook. So let's see. Okay, this following test is going to be vital. We now have here the Sony A7R II, and we have a USB to USB-C dongle, actually from Anoweek's MacBook, and I connected the cable. So let's connect this one to the Wacom, and let's see what happens. We're now in Capture One, so it's now connected. That sounds promising. Now let's turn on the camera, and there we go. We have a connection. Now let's see if the images come in. So shot an image, and there we go. So this is incredibly important, of course, for me, because I want to make sure that this works. Ooh, this is nice. Now we can also use gestures inside of Capture One. Awesome. Okay, so that's one of the most important tests we just did. So tethering works. Great. Now, because I'm also going to use the Wacom as a laptop replacement, I'm actually using now a temporary keyboard, which we still had laying around, a Logitech with a touchpad, and it works pretty well. The only thing is, and this is something that is already known, but if you buy the Wacom, you actually have to take notice of that. You see that it's a little bit upright, so it's not laying on the table. And that's actually because, and this is of course not the normal way to do it, I use my MacBook and a hard drive to lift the tablet up. You have to buy the Wacom stand or use something else, and the stands weren't available when we got the Wacom. So I'm looking for something else, or as soon as the stand is available I will use the Wacom stand, because of course you want your screen to be a little bit more like this if you want to use it as a laptop replacement. But for now we'll have to work around it and use it like this. So I'm now gonna edit the first video in Premiere on the Wacom and see how fast it is. But up until now I'm very impressed. Okay, Premiere is editing our first video from behind the closed doors, and I'm gonna give you some opinions on the usage I have now from the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. Okay, I've been working for a few hours now on the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro, and it's absolutely an amazing device. It's very, very fast. The screen is absolutely gorgeous. There are some things that I have to address that are a little bit less. For one thing, the stand. I would really like Wacom to include a stand, or at least, well, there should be some alternatives, because getting the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro up is a little bit difficult because now we're actually using a birdhouse to keep it up. It sounds ridiculous, but we'll have to find a stand, and probably tomorrow. I now connected a keyboard with touchpad, and that doesn't work quite well. It works, but the touchpad is terrible. So we're gonna go online and find a great keyboard with a good touchpad that actually supports gestures. Now, the thing that did surprise me very much was how Adobe Premiere actually behaves on a Windows machine, and it's not the fault of the Wacom. So let's make that clear. Now, on the Apple, I'm used to just dragging in my MTS files into Premiere and everything works fine. On this machine, no audio at all. And I looked online, and that's actually common behavior for Premiere under Windows. You have to import the whole card. Now, I didn't want to import the whole card because, well, I don't want to do that. So I just copied everything to the hard drive and imported it from there. And it actually works quite well. So, problem solved. Now, during working with Premiere, I did find out that the combination of touch and the trackpad doesn't go well together. If you try to do some touch gestures, sometimes it goes wrong. If you do everything with the trackpad, you feel a little bit, well, sluggish compared to the MacBook Pro. But again, the touchpad on the MacBook Pro is absolutely awesome. It's one of the best touchpads I ever used. So we're gonna try to find a keyboard that has a touchpad that's actually quite similar. So if you have any tips for that, please let me know, because this is something that's high on my list. It has to be a Bluetooth keyboard. Okay, so tethering works. Photoshop looks absolutely amazing. The screen is gorgeous. The machine is very, very fast. And is there anything I don't like except the stand, of course? Well, there's one thing, the speakers. Now, this is a production machine for me, so it means that I do a lot of graphical stuff on it, and I don't care about speakers at all. But when I do video editing, they do sound a little bit shallow, is that the correct term? Very, very flat. They just don't sound well. And again, when compared to the MacBook Pro, the speakers are absolutely awesome. Now, is that a big deal? Probably not. Not at all. But when doing video editing, I will get some speakers that actually sound a little bit better, because I do want to hear if the audio is okay. And you can hear that the audio is okay, but you can't change anything to my voice, for example, because I absolutely have no idea what I'm doing. And now some people will ask me, like, what do you think about USB-C? But this is one of the things that you didn't like about the MacBook Pro. You're absolutely right. I am not a fan of the dongle circus. On the other hand, the future is going to USB-C. We hope. The problem I have at the moment with USB-C is not exactly the dongles. The problem was more that the new MacBook Pro didn't offer me anything more. It's a horrendously high price for a great machine. It's one of the best built laptops out there, but it's a horrendous price. And then when I compare it to my old 15-inch MacBook Pro, there was absolutely no reason to upgrade. It's a little bit faster, but the battery runs down faster too. It's smaller, but actually that size is actually won back again by using all the dongles. It's lighter, but I have to carry all the dongles. So in the end, I lost a lot of ports, including my card reader, which is incredibly important for me. The HDMI out, and what do I get back? Actually, a big dent in my bank account, and a laptop that, I don't know, if you read online now, there are so many problems with it, with the graphical cards, with speeds and hang-ups. So I think I'm very glad that I skipped actually on the MacBook Pro. So why then no problems with the Wacom? Very simple. As a photographer, and I work a lot in the field, I love shooting tethered, but I also love to be able to show retouching straight away. And the Wacom just delivers this experience. You can shoot tethered, you can take out your pen and start drawing straight on the tablet. Now, that's one of the main advantages why I'm willing to do the switch to Windows and why I'm willing to use the dongles. If there's some real benefit to it, I'm willing to switch, because in the end it's not about the system, it's not about the ecosystem, it's about the device that gives you exactly what you need. And at this point the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro looks exactly what I need, and probably for a lot of photographers. And getting used to Windows, guys, it's probably 1 or 2 days and you're used to it. Now, we were already used a little bit at Windows, but not in a production machine. But seeing tonight, I have email working, we have the whole Creative Suite on there, we have Capture One on there, and there's absolutely no difference between the MacBook Pro and the Mobile Studio Pro. The only thing is that Premiere didn't support my audio, which is weird, but we'll have to look online, maybe I'm missing something. So, for tonight, this is me signing off, and again, this is a behind the closed doors video of the review. We're gonna do a much better filmed review in the future, but first I want to play a little bit more, and I will keep you updated via behind the closed doors. So thank you so very much for watching, guys. I hope you like this. Oh, and by the way, in the back you now hear the vents. It's actually rendering. And let's keep it really close to the fence. It's pretty quiet. You don't hear it a lot. It's some people compare it to a hard drive that's booting up. I don't agree. It's more like, well, a gentle breeze. When I compare it again to the MacBook Pro, when it gets really hot, it makes a lot more noise. But the fans kick in a lot later, and the Wacom is actually already using the fans since it started rendering, but it's a really soft noise, so no problem at all there. And if you have any more questions, just let me know in the comments below and I will test it for you guys. And if you have tips for the keyboard or anything else concerning the switch to Windows, just let me know. Thank you so very much for watching, guys, and please spread the video, and again, leave comments below. See you again. Bye bye.